I fell and lost to the war, shot me dead. I was lost and said to the voices in my head, I'm gonna get up again. I'm gonna get up to another day. I'm not giving up again. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get up again. I'm gonna get up to another day. I'm not giving up again. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get up again. Look into my eyes. My heart beats like a drum. You listen to my lies. Love is far to come. Your love is far. Running at the speed of light, kissing under city lights. Calls me in this morning time, and it just goes on. Running at the speed of light, kissing.
Welcome. Sorry about that. Welcome. I'm gonna doing our stream today, and we're just gonna be continuing on where we left off, and hopefully everything goes well. With that being said, let's get right into it. There we go, and I do have a few things ready and prepared. Hopefully everything goes well. All right. With that being said, let's get right into this. Hold on. Hold on real quick. I think I'm missing something. It shouldn't be.
Hello, guys and gals. Welcome.
Oh shit. What the fuck? How bad is the lag? Yeah, they're really bad. Hold on, let me fix this real quick. I plan on doing anything else. Hopefully everything is good. You stabilized or what the fuck? Oh shit. You stabilized or is it? Hold on, I may need to restart stream. Hopefully everything is good. I want to double check real quick. Alright, everything seems fine. Everything seems fine. That's good. That's good. Alright. Alright, let's get on with the art stream. I need to get up my art sleeve real quick. There we go. I think it's just too many tabs open. Man, so yeah. Anyways. Here we go. Alright. Hopefully everything is good. Get the ball rolling. Move that mic here. Alright. So I'm keeping an eye on specifically. Okay, Twitch and YouTube seem good, but it's the Kick chat that I am being extra cautious about because apparently Kick has pretty much a worse bot problem than YouTube and Twitch combined. Just that. There we go. Alright, hopefully everything is good. Everything can be rolling smoothly.
Welcome to a fine, nice, holy Sunday, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, guess we're not gonna be playing any YouTube videos, apparently. Apparently YouTube is too much for the stream today. And I may need to restart the stream up fucking again. Alright. What the fuck? Anyways. Okay, stream has smoothed out, thankfully. Alright, so hopefully it stays that way. Hopefully it stays that way.
People?
Alright. We're gonna get right on into this. Definitely. So I tend to use a mouse to zoom in and stuff like that because I don't really know how to do it like with the pen alone or yeah. So right now, don't know what layer 5 is. If I did anything important to that, I completely forgot. Okay, so what we need to do is, okay, so we're better off, see here. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, we're not exactly quite done getting ready for ad close yet. But yeah, I see what did wrong with that. So, do layer, I think it's layer 3, right? Right? Okay, so we're gonna probably have to do an entirely new layer for this. Alright, the model again. Oh, that crack in half. Alright. Hopefully everything's good. Alright. So, okay. Alright. Okay, so, oh my god, it feels so weird being this quiet. Alright. I want to try this again real quick.
Ladies and gentlemen.
But we can knock the source to 240. And then
And gentlemen, where we go to the unholiest.
boom. And now
This part of the internet. Yes, it's Deep Web Browsing Sunday.
alright.
Now,
So
I
I don't know.
decided to. I recorded this.
Oh, so I don't know what happened previously. I don't know, maybe there's some issues with the like loading. Something was interfering with the DLL files. Maybe two programs were using the same DLL file and just it was screwing over everything. But yeah, we got it working.
Just like a while ago. Okay, I'm actually speaking in pre-Muda speak right now. Okay, intros definitely failed at least 4 times filming this. But ladies and gentlemen, obviously this is a Sunday. We're going to be releasing this on a Sunday. And next Sunday, it's going to be more Deep Web, and then it's just something that, you know, is going to be back every Sunday. In fact, why is it back every Sunday? Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know, like the internet, if you let it simmer for a little bit, there's a whole bunch of new stuff to explore. So I really feel like actually per week we have a lot of deep web fun content to be looking at that is actually not the same old, you know, spooky Hitman website every so often. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it's going to be a longer video, but, you know, sit back, relax, grab your hot beverage of choice, you know, enjoy the holiest of Sundays, and let's get into our first weird part of the dark web. I love human meat, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh. Are you guys, are you a cannibal? Do you guys like eating human beings? If the answer to that is no, congratulations, you are not breaking the law. For those with taste, okay, so sources.
Yeah, Larify's
So
gonna
first
be
off, I feel like I'm not even in like the home directory over here. I just got to go to the home directory. But let's read the sources. We collect our meat mainly from morgues. We won't tell you which countries, but we can say road accidents are our guilty pleasures. Death is not like.
what the fuck?
You know, it's like this is like one of those websites you go to the first time. Like some journalist like looking at this is like, oh my god, I touched the deep web in the first 5 minutes. I found a cannibal website. You know, I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, if you give your money to these people, I think it might also be a crime, maybe, I think, to like knowingly give money to like cannibal like providers. But also I guarantee you 1,000,000% this is a scam. Guarantees all of our products are found and verified by some professional. Medical examiner, med students, thanatopractors. Okay, what is
What
a
the fuck?
thanatopractor? I gotta look at this one. Hold on, thanatopractor. That doesn't even sound real. It doesn't sound real. Here, hold on. Let's find it. What does it do? When a loved one died, take them to a morgue. Blah blah blah. The remains are taken care of by professionals. These are thanatopractors. It is important to know that the functions. Okay, so the preservation of a dead body. All right, fair enough. Morality. As a passionate people, we think everyone should taste human once in his or her life because it's yourself. It's knowledge. We deeply think eating human is not So I guess it's
What the fuck?
not bad. I guess to eat a human being.
Excuse
as
me?
long-
Bruh. What the fuck? Exactly. Exactly.
Eating people is bad, dude. Okay, it's not even a. Why? Okay, so I don't know why my synapses just fired off. I was remember reading like, I think it was like firemen that said like anytime they walked in like a burning building with like actual burning human flesh, there was a smell that they said it smelled like bacon. It smelled like actual like pork, so to speak. And somehow it's I don't know why, but it's like that. That's the thing that kind of like hit me a little bit just thinking about it. I feel like if you want to taste human being, right? Like, isn't the closest analog to that like pork? You know, like if you can eat pork, like provided you're not like restricted dietarily, if that's what it smells like, I imagine that's what it might taste like. Okay, you don't have to eat a human being, but I guess the morality is like, if they're already dead, you might as well. like what's the harm? You know, just be a little vulture, if you will. All right, let's go see the catalog. So, if you want 150 grams of regular meat, I don't know what the fuck noble meat is. What is it, like aged Wagyu human? Okay. God, dude. Meat basic, $400. Okay, no thank you. 700 for meat tasty. So what? You pay 400 bucks for dog shit like prison grade human, and then you pay 700 for tasty human. All right, $1,000 for the meat deluxe extravaganza. Okay, the dub edition remix, if you will. Now, if you want a heart and
Hey.
brain, which is basic organs, that's $449. Which I
Okay.
don't know what the prices are for like cannibals. Please, cannibals in the comment section, tell me like what makes logical sense in the price pool for this. You got organ tasty deluxe mixed basic, so you get a little mixture action. Okay, you get a little bit of the heart, brain, noble meat, and regular meat. You know, like honestly, if it wasn't against YouTube's TOS, like that, like honestly, like the mix basically, you just get like the butcher box sampler platter of all of it. All right, let's see what the order page here looks like. Maybe they can guide me through here. Okay, so first off, you want to choose your pack. Okay, so all right, let's go for that mixed basic, I guess. Oh, you want me to give you my personal email? Yeah, it's go fuck yourself silly. If I can even spell silly right. At yahoo.com. I think the most unrealistic part of that email might be the fact that I'm using Yahoo. Select your country. Oh yeah, let's I mean fuck it, it's a scam. You might as well just send it to like St. Lucia for crying out loud. I don't know where that is. State, I don't know, Orlando? No, that's a city. Florida. Floridoa. Yes. Street address 123 Fake Avenue. City
Okay,
Orlando. Zip code. What's a Floridian zip code? I know it's a fucking 90210. I know that's not a Florida one. Oh, you want my name? You want my name too? Sure, man. Max Headroom. How about that?
Next.
Now, of course, it goes without saying, if you're stupid enough to provide them your address, your name, your email, and a federal agent shows up and puts handcuffs on you for giving money to these people, or you just get scammed, I have no sympathy. To be honest, I'm just gonna laugh. Okay, I'm gonna be like, I think most people probably will, but let's throw that order down there. You'll still be able to rectify an order. So I gotta pay an amount of $3.9. Okay, but how do I pay you the amount? Yes. Oh hell yeah! Oh hell yeah! They gave me a Bitcoin address. All right, let's take this Bitcoin address and see just how effective the scam was. Provided it's not like a fresh BTC account, which I don't think these people go through the fucking effort for it. Now, thankfully, it doesn't seem like anybody has been stupid enough to give these people money. Now, granted, this could be like a fresh address, if anything. Like, they could have just generated me like a fresh Bitcoin address. But based on this one, thankfully, no person has proven themselves to be so fucking stupid that they've caused this. But I guess the best thing that I can do is probably go through the order page again and see maybe if the actual page is different. So blah blah blah, yahoo.com, select country,
How's it zoom
Botswana,
here?
blah 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 blah. 1 2 3 4 5 and order, and just see like if they generate like a brand new address. Oh, wow. You need at least 8 address? Okay, fucking street, I guess. Ooh. I got some basic checks and balances here. Yeah, it's actually the same address, so... Thankfully, it's just
Okay.
like a joke. Thankfully, nobody's stupid enough has fallen for it. But here it is. No registration, no tracks. Yeah, no tracks as you provide them as you provide them your address, of course. Delivery is in refrigerator transport and identify merchandise. All our products are sent carefully frozen. No customs can identify them. Man, you got to be the world's shittiest. These guys are the craziest smugglers in the world. They're dealing with like just a massive issue in the in the import export regulatory industry where they're not getting this right. So what is this? To learn and remember how to preserve our precious products. Remember that humans and pigs share 98% of their genome? No way. That's not, dude, that's not true. Thankfully, with my local AI, I can at least ask it. Do humans and pigs share 98% of their genome? That just seems like complete bullshit, and I think it is. But the claim that is not entirely accurate. It's a bit misleading. Early comparisons focused on protein coding genes suggested a similarity of around 98% of the genes for life and tend to be conserved across. Okay, so basically we have similar things that all species seem to have when comparing their entire genome, including non-coding regions, which make up a significant portion of DNA and have various regulatory roles. The similarity drops considerably. The most recent and comprehensive analysis puts the similarity closer to 70 to 80%. Even saying 70 to 80% is tricky. It doesn't mean that 70 to 80% of exact DNA sequence is identical. It just means that a large portion of DNA has evolutionary relationships and similarities when considering factors. Okay. So, yeah, it seems like that's bullshit, and it's even provided some actual sources over here for anybody to read. Thank God for local AI, man. I can just have my privacy, have my cake, and it fucking works faster than even ChatGPT. So, yeah. Is this a scam? Absolutely. Is it lying? Abso-goddamn-lutely. And should you be dumb enough to send money to this? No. But I think that's enough time on the actual Cannibal website. Let's go somewhere else. Ooh, the Terrestrial Observation Center classified. Ladies and gentlemen, aliens. This is part of the dark web that I just love. Okay, especially when a website just looks so just good. All right, anyways, warning, unauthorized entry prohibited. This area is restricted. Authorized personnel only. Dude, it's like SCP, bro. They're in here. By entering the zone, you acknowledge that you are a verified and approved agent of MidTalk. Any unauthorized access or disclosure of classified information will be subject to disciplinary action. Ooh, kinky. Well, let's sign up, okay? So here it is. We're actually in the sign up period. So MidTalk is an elite shadow organization focused on the investigation of UFO phenomena. We actively seek highly detailed UFO information to assess its potential for reverse engineering. Our dedicated agents conduct meticulous research, investigating and analyzing UFO sightings, and uncover valuable insights. You know, I wish this was the kind of website that people came out to on the dark web. They're like, I went onto the deep web for 5 minutes and I found a bunch of alien, like, UFO researchers. Maybe LARPers, who knows? A strong interest and belief in the existence of... Okay, so this is what I need. This is the qualification. So I need interest in the paranormal and extraterrestrial phenomena. So I do believe in aliens. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't believe in the ghosts. Even though, like... I don't know. I mean, like, from a religious perspective, I probably should believe in, like, you know, things from the afterlife. But I'm very skeptical, like... You know, if I walk into a dark, like a building or something where, like, people say it's haunted, I'll be honest, I'm not ever actually afraid of, like, ghosts. I am afraid of crackheads, like, the realistic shit, you know? But I don't think that, like, ghosts are necessarily a thing, like... I mean, I don't know. I mean, prove me wrong, right? Like, I'm always open to new information.
Yep.
But demonstrated ability to analyze, blah, 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 excellent observation and problem-solving skills, strong communication, proven capability. You know, I just want to read it. If I have all of these requirements, do I want to proceed? Well, yes, I do. Absolutely.
Okay.
So immediately after, like, signing in, I am a UFO researcher. So there appears to be, like, literally nobody on here. Okay. This is a very dead board. Maybe it's like entirely new, but they've got a bunch of boards here where they've got like their break rooms, they've got agent roster, they've got tasks and objectives and orientation, they've got logbooks, regional declassified documentation, which is kind of where I want to actually go to. Let's open up some of the declassified shit. So over here they've got the break room,
okay.
and it seems like there's literally only
Interesting.
one agent, and this agent has basically
also
been talking to themselves for months now. Oh my god. We're on like the deadest board in the world.
You know.
That's so crazy. Look at this. Like, there's literally not a fucking soul replying to it. All of these views, I imagine, these are the magical F5 views, if anything. And yeah, I mean, it's aliens among us. I want to believe. What is the break room? Okay, so I want to believe, right? Like, I want to believe the aliens. Shit, I need to be a I thought I was signed in. All right, so here we are. We're actually in a dream come true. So this is Agent Q01, who's the MIB director, okay?
All right.
The Men in Black director, the man behind it. And so they joined actually in 2023. So this is not like a board that was made in like a couple months. This has got some history to it. So obviously this is a dream come true, and a man being tractor beamed into an alien saucer, so to speak. And yeah, that's the image that is provided. In fact, there's only one agent browsing, and that agent is in fact yours truly. My idea of the perfect UFO. It reminds me of like I think it was like Charlie a couple weeks ago. I think he made a video on like Alien. It was like this ball that like was captured on r/UFO. Like I even like talked about it too. It was like just the goofiest shit in the world. And I think it was like somebody took like a balloon and like I think they just like had it float around, like they attached like a balloon to a drone and just had it like float around, or like that's how you could like recreate that footage. Yeah, the sphere UFO is pretty common now. Okay, there's a lot of people that want to see the floating ball UFO. Now I don't know how this works without like any futuristic anti-gravity tech, but it's also boring. Like, how do you think this is a great design? It's a fucking ball, bro. All right, like it's a ball. You know what I think would be a great alien UFO? No joke. The Corvette class cruisers from Halo. I think that would be the best design. Okay, like at least make it look like the Von Braun or Citadel Station, even, right? Like something cool. A ball? You got to be the most unimaginative fuck if that's what you're excited about. Okay, just saying. So here's some AI generated Sloppenstein waiting for disclosure, like alien in a top hat in front of Area 51. Oh, this makes me want to die, dude. Oh, look at the alien looking at you, just watching you from the... Why do all aliens look like that? It's so weird. Like, you would think, like, with the diversity that human beings have, right? Like, you know, you've got white people, black people, Indian people, Asian people, you know, you've got Hispanic people. You got so many different varieties of human beings, right? We got, like, 43 different flavors of human beings to fuck with. But, like, all the aliens look like these gray, hairless... That also, like... Here's the thing. I believe in extraterrestrials, but at least if you're gonna like, how can you believe in extraterrestrials but not believe in like even slight genetic diversity? If they made it that far, they probably are unironically a more diverse species than human beings. You know, it's like I think it's just very xenophobic to think all aliens look the same. Like that's so xenophobic. It's not even funny. And you know what? I can't tolerate any xenophobia on my channel. All right, that's just not happening. This is insanity. Now, as far as their actual declassified documentation, ladies and gentlemen, they actually do not have a lot of documentation for aliens, right? Unfortunately, some of them are like YouTube links. Some actual like documentaries they link to just don't exist, probably because they got taken down for maybe a TOS violation. But yeah, you know, this is the MIB TOC, an online, I want to say, schizo group of researchers that look into alien shit. And you know what? I think it's awesome. I really do support these people in every way. Because here's the thing, right? Like, at least they're having fun researching aliens. And you know what? Honestly, the day we get first contact or something in here ends up being right, then we all owe these guys an apology. In fact, we owe every alien researcher the biggest apology. And I don't want to put myself into a situation like that where I have to, you know, believe. You know what? Here's the thing: if they provide something that is of substantial evidence, I will be the first believer. Simple as that. Anytime new information comes out, if you're not willing to realign your beliefs or update your beliefs, you're not even a human being. Then you're a fucking NPC. So yeah, you know what? If they're right, they're right. If they're wrong, then they're wrong. Like I guess so far everyone has been. All right, simple as that. But that said, let's go to the next site. Oh hell yeah! I love coming across videos of women that have been duct taped in a dark room. That's a wild clip that you can dig out of this video. That's for sure.
Excuse me,
ladies and gentlemen. Something that I like about the old dark web is coming across some of the stupidest like videos possible. Sometimes you come across like art projects, but this is a little scary, because immediately I'm thinking, am I looking at a kidnap victim? Jesus Christ, hit play. Okay, so we got some hearts in the corner. That's Periscope. That's Periscope. That's, if you don't remember Periscope, it used to be a live streaming platform. I think it was owned by Twitter at the time, or X now. I don't even think it's really active, but it used to be a platform that you could just flip on your phone, the live stream. So this is immediately I can tell it's like Periscope. Now the account behind it, Dibijik. Okay, all right, let's hit play here. Okay, so we got a bunch of Cyrillic written. We got a bunch of Russian. It seems a lot of people are hearting this, and this lady just seems to have like a timer on her. So 3 hours, 22 minutes, and 2 seconds. And whoa, some of the chat is insane. They're like, I hope she gets.
Right.
Yikes, that's actually gross. Oh wait, hold on. This isn't even the whole footage. Okay, so we end up getting cut over here, right? So do you like good passing on your Media Centrio? Messi over Ronaldo. I don't even know what the Russian says.
All right.
But yes, she appears to just be sitting alone by herself. She looks like a kidnapped person. Now, this is the thing about this story is like immediately I'll tell you right now, there's a great deconstruction of this, and it's not by me. I do remember it's actually by Rainbot, actually. In fact, let me dig out her video real quickly for it. So for anybody that doesn't know Rainbot, she is a horror YouTuber on the internet. Very, very good person. She actually just uploaded like exploring the House of Mirrors Japanese mini mockumentary. Okay, so she's been really locked into the mockumentary grind right here. Good job on her, man. She is a fun horror soul. Okay, very variety horror person. But she uploaded a video, and this is back in like 2017. Female hostage on YouTube Live and Periscope explained. Time Girl. I didn't know that she had a name actually. So there's a bunch of like 4chan posts actually over here, for instance, right? Where like people were asking questions to the girl, and I guess she was like giving yes or no answers. So in the stream, it was like, is this a game? No. Is there a bomb? Yes. Are you in Moscow? Yes. Did someone kidnap you? Yes. From the street? No. From your house? Yes. So again, the reality of this is that like obviously this appeared to be like an actress for this entire like this situation, and she has like basically the whole footage, like not the whole footage, but she has most of what's important on her channel where she actually actively speaks about this. And from what it seems, like even the girl ended up like posting a video about it later on like what appeared to be like this Facebook group, Black Elephant. Disclosure of the main mysteries of yesterday. And it's just like the girl with the timer. So clearly the 23,000 people that were like fucking scared shitless of what they were seeing on screen, rightfully so, actually ended up getting like some relief out of it. So no, I don't think this is like a female
Okay.
Far from it. But I remember when this was happening, because I did actually like hear about this footage all the way back in 2017. This is forever ago in internet time. But yeah, this was like one of those things where it kind of showed up. Like there was like maybe a thread on 4chan. Let me see if I can even like find it actually. So yeah, this is like the actual 4chan post that was actually made over here. So girl tied to chair on Periscope. This is 29th May 2017, and this one user gives like a YouTube link where they downloaded some of the streams actually free to watch, which aren't unfortunately available anymore. So I will be dumping all the pics, come together to find out what I think it is out of these. It's a genuine kidnapping, it's an advertising, it's an ARG. or it's some edgy friends trying to look cool on Russian forums. And obviously, it's clearly it was a hoax. It was a social experiment, I guess that's what we used to say back in the day, right? 2017. But one
Oh
user
no, a
says,
social
if it's
experiment.
real,
Oh
she blew up
no.
Russian state TV is covering it. And so right over here, they actually gave him a WebM share, which, fuck, man, unfortunately, that's not even a lot. That's not even here, too. God damn. It's like, all of this is just lost media. But yeah, I think this is like how I knew about it at the time, too, because it's just like, anytime like something kicks off on X, anytime like anytime like a thread gets more than like 50 replies, I'm always like, all right, let me log in and see if it makes some sense here. Let me see what's going on over on the old X. But yeah, this is all a hoax. Obviously, Rainbot has a pretty good video on it. You should check it out. But yeah, it's a kind of a blast from the past, if you will. Let's go somewhere else. There is no reality, only chaos. Through chaos, energy becomes will. Through will, truth becomes illusion. Through illusion, matters become thought. Through thought, we become God. Galdrux shall lead us to chaos. All right, boys. This is just a special type of unhinged. Actually, I got like cables everywhere. Not good. But let's actually open up this page here. Let's go to Galdrux is the first multiversal cult of the planet. We are the heralds of a new era of weird and bizarre cults that will take over the world in years to come. Better move aside, Scientology. You've got a new nut job in place. The path to Galdrux.
A new nut job. Oh no.
Not even gods can reach the end. Galdrux is the unknowable Theos, Paratheos, God beyond God. It may have many parasemantic names, synonyms of chaos created through paraxenic neologisms. I'm just nowhere intelligent enough to understand this shit. Let me tell you. I'm just a fat Indian computer guy on the internet. I'm not smart enough to know God. But yeah, over here they've got like actual YouTube links. So the Angel of Chaos, Galdruxian Supremacy. Okay, let's watch the let's look at it. Okay, let's watch it. So 7 months ago, this is shared to 2.8 thousand views. What a banger, if you will.
Okay, let's do
and
it
that
here.
is, in fact, the video right over here.
Let's see here.
Dude, I love the text to speech bullshit that they fucking throw, dude. Oh, god damn. Okay, let's open up the actual website over here. So this is sorry, the YouTube channel. This is Dadolo Sesimo Captuv Lorek. So yeah, just damn, this guy's active. What? 6 months ago, they were just like, no way, I gotta see this is it's like AI slop. Rendora, dude, it's like AI slop interviews. What the fuck? What are we watching, bro? Oh my god. This is like unknown, like 700 subscribers over here. And then like, hold on. 6 months ago. Then you had 1 month ago over here. This is not AI slop. This is like actually, it's like a human being like doing an unboxing. And then of course, like, they got like a podcast over here too. They've got like, just more AI stuff. They're wearing propane canisters on their head. Dude, I swear to God, I think I love this site. So this is the website over here. Art, anti-art, post-art, pataphysics. I love it, dude. This is just unhinged. So, okay, first things first. The views over here, they're actually not too bad. Like 42,000 views on a thread. It's not bad here. So let's go check in. Okay, what is Operation Mindfuck? Well, let's go to Operation Mindfuck. A lot of these threads are written by one person, Vudov Hoax, who I believe actually probably just runs the whole site. Well, let's see what Operation Mindfuck is. All right, let's have our minds blown. Right, let's get this done. Now, of course, let's open up other ones like System of the World. What is Operation Distance? I got so many operations here, dude. We might need to call the Operation Distance, Dataplex Intersigil Techno. God damn, dude. That's so insane. We live in a frighteningly liminal times, increasingly cut off from our familiar ways of the past and facing a future few people can truly prepare for. The exponential advances of human technology we are living through will soon escape humanity's control. I am, of course, referring to AI. Already, AI is designing the next generation of microchips better and faster than we can. Deep Coder, a joint project, is perfecting AI that can write code to make better AI. You know, he's actually like not wrong. This is kind of like it sounds almost like a doomer take, but like, yeah, I mean, like honestly, like, you know, as much as you want to hate things like AI, bro, it's good luck escaping things like artificial intelligence. It's just so popularized at this point that trying to run away from anything like AI related shit is it's almost impossible. Like it really is. You know, so you have to find ways to kind of adapt. Simple as that. You know, I've kind of talked about it even with like the Mr. Beast stuff, right? With like the thumbnail tool, which I think I want to do a follow up because Mr. Beast even like reached out to me and like, you know, alleviated some of the concerns I had. But it's a little deeper than that because for one, I think a lot of people don't understand what AI actually is in today's current context. And the other thing is like obviously, you know, this is a tool that's training on the stuff that we create to replace us. And if people don't really see the horror in that, I don't know what the hell to tell you guys, right? So, however, a counterinsurgency of sort already exists, and not in some anti-tech Luddite fashion. Futurists, prophets, and weirdo Discordians, Discordians, that's a fun way, have been preparing ways to tip the scales in our favor for years. Initiatives like Let's Code Tyler seeks to beat the corporations and the militaries to the singularity punch. And we certainly want an entity free from any starting parameters that might impose. Others of us are looking into the past, the emergence of whatever it is, and considering the environment, it and we will find ourselves. And that, my friends, is the hashtag Dataplex. So this is the current state of the Dataplex. You've got like, what the fuck, dude? Oh man, I'm so glad I don't do drugs. Because if I was tripping right now, I'd be gone. So you've got like some Leonardo DiCaprio memes. You've got the Dataplex Ouroboros. Like a lot of it just feels like just it feels like I'm like actually reading schizophrenia, right? So here's Operation Mindfuck. Does society seem boring, dull, unimaginative, and perhaps even nightmarishly conformist? Do you ever feel as though the universe is one big sick joke? Yeah, sometimes I do. Can you see the F-Nords? You're not alone unless you are. Greetings, fellow mutants, weirdos, rebels, vagabonds, quantum schizophrenics, activists, inactivists, slackers, ragamuffins, hyper-surrealists, and architects, petaphysicians, subgenii, and ne'er-do-wells, and welcome to your initiation into Discordianism. Okay, so Discordianism isn't just Discord, it's like a cult almost. So what are you talking about? I'm talking about chaos, I'm talking about discord, I'm talking about the end of civilized monotony, and the beginning of a glorious descent into madness. Okay. Chaos has many meanings, but in this case it means the primal, disordered nothing from which any and everything may spring. An existence which contains within itself all possibility. All original thought springs from this chaos, and as such all the works of man are inherently spawned from this one source. Eris is the goddess of chaos, and the goddess of all creation. Her will be done. Unfortunately, there are those who wish to seek to impede the works of holy chaos. So who's creating order? You are, you bastard, along with everyone else. You are still following your cultural norms. Normalcy is stagnation, safe but boring, and eventually fatal to unfortunate fish swimming in the stagnant sewer of thought. So what can you do? Rise up! Or lie down, or hop around on one leg, and slapping your buttocks. Just do something, anything, to break through the oppressive social norms which you erect around yourself. Lie on the ground in the middle of the subway. Wear a chicken outfit to KFC. Bring him to Passover. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay. Ooh.
This is goofy, dude. This is wild as shit. I love this site, bro. This is crazy. It's just all like it's all nutters. It's all people that are nutter butters.
Nutter
that's
butter.
what it is. It's a site of nutter butters. Now I'm gonna chalk this up to like an art project. I really think with like YouTube and everything, it's just an art project. It's like a group of people that are just coming together to upload some chaotic shit onto the internet and call it a day. And you know, that's what I'm gonna call it, man. I mean, I think like, you know, if you're somebody that like wants to get a kind of fringe religion. You know, maybe you want to get a religion with a little bit more pep in its step. You know, hey man, nothing here seems like they're sacrificing human beings or eating fucking babies or something. It seems like they're, you know, they might be a little kooky, but then again, who isn't? You know, if you're in the market for a religion that, if any of this appeals to you, then maybe this is the faith you must pick for yourself, young Padawan.
Oh my
But
god.
I know that this is a little too fringe, even for me. So I'm going to back out of this and go somewhere, hopefully, less schizophrenic. Helicopterian Constitution, the American Constitution 2.0, ladies and gentlemen. Let us go. All right, so this is the Helicopterian Constitutocracy. We are still the same movement with the same rules. Constitutocracy means rule by constitution. Okay, so they've got like a signed PDF file for you to download. But I guess we'll read through a little bit. So Chapter 1, Introduction. The goal of this document is the immediate resuscitation of civilization in case of degeneracy, socialist overspending, or oppressive authoritarianism. The rules are based on what has historically worked, combined with modern science. The rules are overly discriminatory and simplistic. This is because of the nature of this document that is on paper. I just want to start off by also saying I don't want to see a political turf war in the comment section below, okay? Like, this is not the place for it. I'm just somebody that's looking at goofy shit on the internet. And this, I would say, qualifies a little bit of goofy, okay? So what is it? The helicopter is a symbol often associated with the physical removal of socialists. I don't even know if that's true. Like, I've never looked at a helicopter and thought, yeah, let's get rid of those socialists. Chapter 2, Know Your Enemy. The enemy is extremely dangerous. Their ways may seem nonsensical and even self-destructive to you, but this is not the case. I'll give you 2 examples. Artistic subconscious example. Okay, so just keep throwing the nonsense at me. A simple pop culture example is the zombie. A zombie spreads its kind by infecting or killing others. Zombies may appear harmless as they shuffle about. No, they're not. They're spooky and they're scary and they run after you and they eat you off. Okay, that's how it works. Zombies are generally hard or impossible to cure, even though it could theoretically happen. No, they're too far gone. It's just, you put them down. Zombies are filled with hatred for anything living. That's why you got to put them down. Okay, simple as that. Zombies worship death. I don't think zombies are capable of worship. I think they're just dead. Zombies are real in a sense. They go by many names. Okay, so examples are socialists, democratic socialists, communists, Muslims. I guess I'm a zombie. Marxists, violent imperialists, feminists, Jews, and Nazis. Jesus Christ. God damn. God damn it, man. So fucking stupid. These are all people that value their own safety, their ego, their domination above all else. To avoid this mentally degraded state in your own mind, see Chapter 3. You'll find anything said about zombies applies to these people. They will seem mindlessly... Okay, so I don't want to do any, like, dehumanization of anybody. Yeah, except, like, Nazis, I guess. I mean, I don't think that you should be against dehumanizing that, but, you know, again, rapidly, I do not want to do it, okay? God damn. Whether certain human gene codes for parasitism, or if this is simply learned behavior, it's not known in this, blah. Okay, a parasite will ultimately kill its host, but the host is not the parasite. Alright, so they got a whole bunch of interesting rules over here. For instance, let's actually read some of the stuff real quickly. So during each phase of citizenship, you got to pay them like $5, $52, $480. If you can't, you are basically joining the military. You can do unpaid service in the army or police, which seems like a pretty great idea if you want to get like some of the most untrained individuals inside here. So, for instance, feminists that argue for women voting shall be exiled. Jesus Christ. Cute little girls who cannot pay the fee and do not perform services for any reasons must be expelled from the... Oh, this has to be a joke, bro. Come on, dude. Old veterans who cannot pay and do not perform... Bro, they're old. Stop. This is such... Stop. So what, only men could vote? Women can... Jesus. No, dude, that's fucked. Dude, that's crazy. That's such a... Who wrote this, man? What in the fuck, dude? This is wild shit. Only male citizens can be appointed... Man, these guys are really afraid by chicks. Jesus Christ. Oh, the age of oh, ooh, ooh.
Yeesh.
Okay, these people I think are predator. Okay, well, predator detected, opinion discarded. Simple as that. Let's
Yep.
go. Let's see what their land looks like. This is filthy. I'm very much against the helicopterian constitutocracy. God damn. I'm not gonna lie, that shit took the wind out of my sails right there. Disgusting behavior. Disgusting shit to be talking about. But yeah, this is like an entire. Now I can see why this is on the dark web. So the constitutocracy is the only nation in the world that let you buy land tax free, free of property taxes, and even pay anonymously using cryptocurrency. Furthermore, communities will allow you to do whatever you want with your property with no worries about zoning or such a concept even existing as long as you do not harm others. Because of our innovative and classically liberal constitution, we can offer both normal helicopterian land as well as an example for white nationalist land. Jesus, classically liberal. It's like a flashbang here. No matter your choice, our anti-feminist and anti-socialist policies make any helicopterian constitutocracy land ideal for either tax-free business or for raising a family in a healthy environment. Our current land is in so called intentional communities, or what we call Phase 2. If you're not familiar with it, the concept is comparable to well proven Amish or Muslim Sharia communities, where regular laws still technically apply, but we will seek to manage our own affairs. Yeah, because I think like some communities, they have like, and I think this is like for any religious organization. I think Jews have their own like civil courts. Muslims got Sharia. And I didn't know the Amish had their own courts, but I guess they do. And I think the logic for that is like for obviously things like divorce or settlements or things that are intertwined, especially family and faith related. You typically go through like a religious court, but and this is the good part. None of the things that those courts decide, from what I understand, are actually ever enforceable by any party. So they're kind of just there as like a you go there to like sort of discuss, especially in pertinence to your faith. But
Yep.
when it comes to actual enforcement, like because it's not
Oh, they're
actually a
cracked.
state, and it shouldn't be, because we have separation of church and state, which is a good thing. Um, they can't enforce stuff. But yeah, that's from what I understand. This is like how they build it. So they've kind
Mm.
of taken like a lot of fringe ideologies and sort of like found a way to patchwork them together into creating like their own constitution. Now I don't know if this like actually exists. Like this is just a dark web website. I don't know if there's like any group that's actually like, you know,
That
living like this
insane.
somewhere, out in like the middle of nowhere in the United States or anywhere in the world. There's no like photos or images or anything that you can find. But I guess you can join, right? You can apply for citizenship. And in order to seamlessly scale from a small movement to a real independent nation, they have 3 phases. So that means anyone can become a citizen and support us right now. But of course, down the road,
I
I'm
kind of
certain
like
that's
doing
going
the
to
thick
change the more
lines.
sovereign they
My
become.
style
And I imagine if this place,
makes it more
if they have like a
poppy.
small little land in like Oklahoma or
Popping.
something where they're like
Popping.
nobody
There we
knows
go.
about them, and the moment they become like a sizable force, maybe armed, that's when we have the U.S. federal government kind of walk in and maybe do another Waco. Who fucking knows? But yeah, this is like a hella unhinged place. If you're a woman and you want equal rights, I don't think this is a great option for you. I don't think this is a great option for anybody unless you're an actual pedophile and you're looking to go somewhere where the age of consent is far lower than it should be. I think it's a great point to go. I mean, that's literally one of their documents right over here. So if anybody here says that I'm
Oof.
slandering them, brother, I read your constitution. Okay, it's a wild piece, so to speak. All right, god damn. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, wild shit. I wish I'd know where they're at, but yeah, man. Sometimes you come across the weirdest shit on the dark web. Sometimes it's not really all that scary. Sometimes it is scary, but it's presented in a way where it's funny scary. It's a horror comedy, if you will. Now, if you believe in this, God help you.
God help
God
me.
really help you. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of dark web browsing. Now, obviously, I'll know the number when I edit it later.
Oh my god. Alright, gonna try to find something.
Hey, what's up, guys? Riff here. So today we're gonna be talking about the
Alright.
debut stream
Here we go.
of the VTuber Saba, who in the first 24 hours has seen millions of people watch her VOD, as well as hundreds of thousands of concurrent viewers watch the stream live, as well as a bunch of her merch flying off the shelf, as well as memes and art coming in insane quantities in the first 24 hours since the debut.
Ooh.
But also since then, there's been a lot of the usual suspects on Twitter seething over her new model and her
Okay.
stream. Now, if you're not the
Let's see
initiator,
here.
someone who doesn't watch VTubers very often, I like to explain these things in a way that'll make sense to you. So you're probably asking, like,
Okay.
why is this Saba person so important in getting such a reaction out of people? Well, here's the history. This is their current account, but this is their previous account, Gargura, which was a VTuber who was with the VTuber agency Hololive for 5
Nick
years.
Crack. Ooh.
And while she was at Hololive, she was the most subscribed to VTuber in the world, with nearly 5 million subscribers before she graduated about a month ago. Graduate, meaning she just retired from the agency. And a lot of people were wondering, would she go back to her other previous account that she had before the agency, Senzawa, which also has 1.5 million subscribers as well. But she'd do something different and create an entirely new account, which already has over 500,000 followers on Twitter. Of course, the name is Samako Saba. She has this whole fish theme going on here. And yesterday, she finally made her debut stream on this account. And I
Okay.
cannot stress to you enough how much
Here.
success it's had. I'm going to let it play in the background. You can see her model in action. Super cute. She also has a really good design and rigging on this, so it looks really neat. But just look at the chat moving in real time. The amount of people going crazy. The views on this. In the first 23 hours, nearly 2.5 million views
Yeah,
on the stream itself.
I watched some of the stream.
I cannot
Pretty
stress
good.
upon you enough is an insane number. But on top of that, she's over 800,000 subs already.
Okay,
People
so
are going absolutely
in,
crazy. Now let's listen to a little bit, just a small clip from the stream to get you initiated with Saba.
I'm a fish, and my eyes are blue. That's all you need to know. Shorty, shorty, ankle biter. You want to see my smolder? I got
okay,
this one.
back of the
small.
shirt. I'm gonna do the neck first. Get the neck covered up.
Hello, princess. Hello, princess. Would you like to see my paper boat? Paper boat? Paper boat? Paper boat?
Especially to those who are not familiar with VTubers, you may not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like. Okay, out there you got people like Johnny Somali going on crime sprees to have like 100 or 200 concurrent viewers, and here you have Saba just saying paper boat and getting like 200 plus thousand concurrent viewers. The future is now. And I got a little screenshot. I was such a tourist. I was 10 minutes late. I didn't see her at her peak number. My apologies. I will definitely repent for that. But you can see people are going absolutely crazy over this stream. And you can see the number of subs, like I said, she's at over 830,000 subscribers. Now, of course, she built up some of that before the first stream over the past month or so and the ramp up to it. But that number's crazy. She's already one-tapped my channel. She's passed me in one stream. And you know what? I'm honored for it. But anyways, she's also on track, and she's definitely going to get there, to pull off an achievement I don't think any VTuber has ever done, and I doubt more than a few handfuls of YouTubers have ever done, and that's to get over 1 million subs on 3 different channels. And not just 3 different channels in this case, 3 unique channels that are technically not related in any sort of a direct way other than the person running the account and just word of mouth, people knowing it's the same person running these accounts. It's really impressive to see. Now, of course, as you probably could easily have been able to tell at this point, she's using a lolly model. That's no surprise to anyone who knows anything about her previous accounts. She's had one with every single one before. Now, she also makes a lot of jokes about related themes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if you don't like that, as I always say, that is totally fine. Just don't pay attention to it. Don't watch it. Don't engage with it. But where you're wrong is where you start using that to harass people, slander them, especially when you're doing it very hypocritically, as we'll see from some users today. Because no matter how much support Gargura gets on any account that she's having, it's going to come with haters and people trying to slander her for their own personal gain or attention. And now we're seeing this again with Saba. So here's the first one, which is an absolute gem. You couldn't make this up in a factory. This is how perfect this all lines up. So this user has hundreds of thousands of views on their tweet with no support, mostly just mockery, where they say, why on earth did Saba go and do that? She literally had the opportunity to do an amazing character that didn't bring in weirdos, and instead she picked an insanely lolly character that will bring out the predators. I'm done with this creator. And then sends a link to Virtue Signal. But anyways, in case you're not noticing, you understand why this is not just slanderous, it's also very ironic and hypocritical. This person is a massive tourist. Their profile picture is that of Gargura's official account. They're running around with a Gargura profile picture saying, I don't know about this Saba character. Why does it have a lolly character? Of course, I guess not understanding that Gargura also had a lolly VTuber model and also retweeted not safe for work artwork of her character on a regular basis, and also played into the jokes and the tropes all the time, and also had the famous phrase, what are you scared of, a little 4-letter word referring to lolly. So this person is a massive tourist on so many levels and a giant hypocrite for going after her over this topic. And in a, I guess, a mark of shame, they would trash their Gargura profile picture and swap it out, and, you know, just every time. And then we have the people in the replies ratioing and just making some funny replies. Gura was a lollytuber too. Did you even watch her? Have you even watched Gura? What, are you scared of a little 4-letter word? I've seen that meme everywhere already. She did do something amazing to her, something she enjoys. Why do you think yourself so important to dictate what people like design-wise? She's indie and millions around the globe aren't as mentally stunted as you. If you see a human child in fictional art, you're telling on yourself. I've been saying that for years and years. Lolly VTuber graduates, debuts as an indie lolly VTuber. How unthinkable. Tourist alert. Hello, tourist. It just goes on and on and on. You get the point. But here's another one. Another tourist/hypocrite moment right here. I'm going to cry, she's too cute, with a picture of her from the debut stream. Now, why is this such a big deal? Well, this individual you might recognize, it's Anna Vellens, the Vice reporter who released multiple hit pieces on various VTubers. Now, a lot of those are retracted, but one that's still up was really her first stab at VTubers at Vice.
They're mainly retracted because the companies behind all of them sued them.
The main crux of this article was not only
At least some of them did cease and desist. One of them threatened a lawsuit, so
agency, but also accused the agency of essentially promoting pedophilia because one of their VTubers is a lolly, has a lolly model. And now she's sitting here watching a LollyCon with a lolly model debut, and she's doing a live tweet reaction to it. Yeah, either a gigantic tourist moment or massive hypocrisy. Or maybe both. I don't know. But there was some more drama involving this stream because she was coming up with fan names for her community. The first one was the Crusties. I don't think she seemed to like that one too much. And then there was the Connie Crew, which is a play on words, if you know, you know. And of course, people would get upset about that too, which is not, again, it's not surprising she would make a joke like that or acknowledge a joke like that. She used to do that all the time as Gargura. And this person says, I F with Saba, but her model and this pandering to that audience is really disheartening, yet not surprising. I likely won't be watching unless Doobie collab, but good luck to her. Ah, yes, that crowd. You know, the one that she's always been engaging with and making jokes with. And of course, we would have a massive ratio here. Again, what are you scared of? A little 4-letter word. And they say, you a verified account with double my followers and can't even muster 10 likes. With this reply, you need to hang up the jersey. Only 10 likes. It has 2,300 likes. What are you smoking? You spiked the football a little too early, man. You got a little too cocky because you got ratioed into the shadow realm on this one. But here's one more we're going to look at today. This was actually before the stream would go live because there was an announcement of a collab between Saba and Amacat, which is a pretty good collab for merch. And this person who is a VTuber Clipper, who I believe has had controversy before. If you can jog my memory, please feel free to do that in the comment section. But they say, is this going to be the standard merch for a debut / soon after a debut? It feels like the VTuber community is becoming increasingly commercialized, and this change is clearly happening from the top down. Why would anyone who's going from a massive, the
I'm not sure
biggest
what
VTuber
kind of
account in the world to
I
a new
tried
indie
copying
account,
this outfit here.
not have merch
No,
right from the
but
get-go,
on
because
top
people are
of
gonna
it,
be literally foaming at
it's
the
always
mouth
like the
to
extra
get some
bits
new
on layers.
merch of this new identity, this new VTuber. Like, that just makes sense.
It's always the extra bits on top, like the blue collar for the sailor outfit. Like, I gotta study the shape of it, and yeah, I'll probably just try to redo it a little bit.
The merch and everything will sell out in seconds.
I gotta see if we have another video. Okay, oh, sorry about that.
Miami, August.
Okay, so I can see if this loads properly. In default view. No? Oh yeah, I might need to refresh the page because it's lagging a bit. Alright.
Miami.
Okay, there we go. Alright. Go back to the forward. Alright.
Miami, August 2009. In this hotel room, the FBI finally corners the most prolific cybercriminal in history. His name, Albert Gonzalez. His take, 170 million stolen credit cards. But the real shock? This man worked for the FBI, even as he was hacking the world's biggest corporations. For years, Gonzalez played both sides, until greed, ego, and one careless email brought it all crashing down. How did an autistic college dropout from Miami outsmart the FBI while on their payroll? This is Albert Gonzalez, an autistic computer prodigy, FBI informant, and the man who stole 170 million credit cards. But to understand how he got here, we need to go back to where it all began. Albert Gonzalez was never really like the other kids. Diagnosed with autism early, he struggled with school, but computers, they spoke his language. By age 12, he was bypassing firewalls just to play games. By 2001, Albert had risen to become a prominent member of Shadow Crew, a digital black market where hackers traded stolen credit cards, social security numbers, and even FBI badges. In
What the
2003, the FBI finally caught him. But instead of prison, they offered him a deal. Work for us. Over the next few months, Albert helped the FBI dismantle Shadow Crew, but behind their backs, he was already planning his next move, because Albert Gonzalez really never stopped hacking. He just got better at hiding it. The Bureau loved Gonzalez. He helped take down Shadow Crew in 2004 through Operation Firewall, a massive sting that arrested 28 cyber criminals.
Ooh.
The FBI thought that they had turned him, made him a good citizen. They were wrong, because even as Gonzalez sat in FBI offices, he was already planning his next hack. While the FBI celebrated the victory over Shadow Crew, Gonzalez and his crew were infiltrating the systems of TJX companies, the parent firm of retailers like TJ Maxx and Marshalls. For nearly 2 years, they siphoned data from insecure Wi-Fi networks at retail stores, stealing 45.6 million credit card numbers. Gonzalez's double life should have collapsed sooner. He used his real email for hacker communications. He paid for luxury cars with stolen credit cards. He partied with known cyber criminals in Miami, but the FBI didn't notice. Or maybe they just didn't want to, because as long as Gonzalez kept delivering arrests, they ignored the signs that their star informant was still a thief. And Gonzalez, he thought he was untouchable.
Okay.
In September of 2007, Gonzalez's team infiltrated the Dave & Buster's payment systems through a location in Islandia, New York. Using specialized packet-sniffing malware, they captured credit card data from 130 locations across North America. But they made 3 critical mistakes. They kept returning to reinfect systems after corporate reboots, drawing attention from an alert IT employee who noticed suspicious network activity. They got greedy. Though only about 5,000 cards were stolen, fraudulent charges totaling $600,000 were
Jesus
quickly detected
fucking
on
Christ.
675 cards. They left digital breadcrumbs that would later help prosecutors build their case, including chat logs discussing the hack. On May 7, 2008, while still working as a federal informant, he was arrested in room 1508 at Miami's National Hotel. The arrest warrant cited the Dave & Buster's hack specifically, marking the beginning of the end for Gonzalez's criminal empire. By 2009, his empire was starting to crumble, but he just didn't know it, or maybe he just didn't care. Thinking the FBI had only caught him for the Dave & Buster's hack, he didn't really pay too much attention about the charges, knowing that he would probably get off lightly. What he didn't know was that the FBI knew about his other activities. Back in 2007, a few months after the Dave & Buster hack, Gonzalez had set his sights on Heartland Payment Systems, one of the largest credit card processors in the world. Gonzalez and his crew spent months probing Heartland's defenses. On the attack, they used SQL injection attacks, exploiting vulnerabilities in the company's payment systems to install malware that siphoned data in real time.
Jesus
For
fuck.
months, the
Why?
malware went undetected. And then, the jackpot. 130 million credit card numbers. Stolen. It was the largest data breach in history at the time. But Gonzalez didn't stop there. He targeted Hannaford Brothers, a major grocery chain, stealing another 4.2 million cards. Then
Gotta be
7-Eleven's
special.
ATM network, compromising untold millions more. The scale was
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, basically.
unprecedented, but the mistakes were piling up. Gonzalez had always been meticulous, but now, flush with cash and confidence, he had gotten careless. He paid for luxury hotels with stolen credit cards, leaving a paper trail. Worse, he buried $1 million in cash in his parents' backyard. On May 7th, 2008, the FBI raided Gonzalez's Miami hotel room. Inside, they found $22,000 in cash stuffed in a laptop bag. A handwritten note titled, quote, "Things I need to do," with the phrase, "Stop hacking," scrawled at the bottom. Guns, fake IDs, a list of stolen credit card numbers, and much more had been found inside the hotel room. It was over. The FBI had Albert Gonzalez dead to rights. On May 7th, 2009, federal prosecutors unsealed the 52-count indictment against him. Wire fraud, identity theft, conspiracy, and much more. The evidence was overwhelming. Chat logs, financial records, and even more. Prosecutors laid out the damage. 170 million credit cards stolen, millions of dollars taken. His defense's idea? A last-ditch plea. Asperger's syndrome had made him obsessive. The judge wasn't swayed. He ended up getting sentenced to 20 years in federal prison.
At the time, it was the longest sentence ever for cybercrime. Gonzalez is also made to give up more than $1.65 million, a condominium in Miami, a blue 2006 BMW 330i, a Tiffany diamond ring, 3 Rolex watches, and many other valuable items. Meanwhile, $25 million of his stolen fortune vanished. Some say it's stashed offshore. Others claim his Russian partners took it. To this day, nobody knows where the money went. And Gonzalez, he's been released, maybe somewhere on a beach in the Bahamas, likely to never touch a computer again in his life.
Oh wow. Jesus fucking Christ. That's something and a half. My question is just why? Why would you think of doing that? Hold it. Okay, there we go. Alright, I just let that load a bit.
This operating system looks identical to Microsoft Windows. It's called ReactOS. It is completely free, open source, and it can even run Windows programs. Let me demonstrate. Here in the Applications Manager, we have a list of all the Windows programs that run on ReactOS. I quickly grabbed GIMP, and while it's installing, I want to quickly mention that ReactOS is not Linux. It's a reverse-engineered clone of Windows NT, which is the core used in Windows XP and Windows Server 2003. This means that we should be able to run Windows XP programs on ReactOS, which is exactly what I'm gonna do in just a second. But here we have GIMP. This is running the Windows version of GIMP. As we can see, it's working just fine. There was a bug on my desk. The next thing I wanted to check out is what will happen if we run Windows XP programs on ReactOS. And if we take a look on my macOS desktop, then we can see that I have an ISO file that has the name of stolen from Windows XP.
What the
I
fuck?
really wonder what kind of files does it contain. Let's just somehow attach it to this operating system. So how do I do that? So here I have the command prompt and the registry editor. I don't know, does this make any sense? So let's try and run it. And it works? What? Okay, I wasn't expecting that. As we can see right here, it says Microsoft Windows XP. I was a bit surprised that it actually does work, because it was just a myth that I had heard before, that ReactOS can run Windows XP programs just like that. Next, let's check out regedit. I think I might have forgotten to import another component from Windows XP. Theoretically, it should work, but I think I have forgotten a file. There's also a built-in command prompt for ReactOS, but I think the Windows XP one looks better, even if they are completely identical. Then I wanted to see what would happen if I deleted System32 on ReactOS. But before I do that, I think let's quickly check out some really cool features before they get destroyed. ReactOS actually comes with different themes. Am I blind or do I just not see the option? So in this section we have multiple options for visual styles. There are some preset themes, like Mizu is the default one, I suppose. Then there's the classic theme, which I don't know, it's from like Windows 95 or whatever. The old one, you know? And then there's the black one. And
The black
some
one?
kind of theme that is just called modern. Anyway, let's see what happens when I delete System32. I'm going to use the Windows XP command prompt.
While I was trying to clean that bit up, I accidentally made it look more like an authentic monk. Authentic. And you know some of the manga pages that had like kind of like a half clean, half rough aesthetic? I think I actually did that.
For this. And just like on Windows, it's located in the C drive /ReactOS/System32. And you know, this channel is all about destruction, so it would be a crime to not delete System32. The command here is identical to how you would delete this folder on regular Windows. When I execute it, however, there are almost no warnings. It deletes all of the files just like that. Of course, some of them still remain, but a lot of critical system files like the kernel are just gone. And the system is still functioning. We cannot run any programs anymore. Most of the programs cannot be opened. Also, in the control panel, most settings have disappeared somehow. I tried to shut down the system, but even that doesn't work. I'm gonna have to do it manually. And now let's boot back onto the system and it doesn't work. Everything is just deleted. I'm once again recording this at 2 AM, so it's time to go to sleep. So check out this video, whichever I will decide to put here, and I'll see you there.
Alright. For the next video.
In the corner of the smoky casino floor, a young woman in a sleek dress casually
go.
flipped her chips on the blackjack table, while a teammate, disguised in a wheelchair, pretended to roll by. They exchanged only the faintest nod. To onlookers, it was meaningless. To the MIT blackjack team, it was a green light to go all in. Across the room, a dealer glanced up suspiciously. He'd seen plenty of big bettors, but something about these college kids was off. He could swear he saw this guy before, but walking. Even stranger, they placed huge bets at exactly the right moment, time and time again. The truth was, these students weren't relying on luck. They had mathematics on their side, had come up with an advanced system, secret signals, disguises, and meticulously rehearsed drills. Everything they needed to beat the house and walk away with a fortune. They had to be careful. One wrong move and the entire table could be blacklisted from every casino in Vegas. In a single weekend, they could pocket hundreds of thousands of dollars. And before anyone could catch on, these nerdy college kids would already be boarding a red-eye back to class in Cambridge for Monday morning. Little did the casinos know this was only the beginning of one of the most successful card counting operations the gambling world had ever seen.
Okay,
JP
so-
Masser and his group of friends were all enrolled in the course, How to Gamble If You Must, at the prestigious MIT. The class was dedicated to, quote, demystifying the casino through statistics. While the main focus was more about logic and numbers than gambling, JP and friends emerged really only caring about one thing: winning. See, the professor had told them how bad of an idea gambling was because statistically the odds are not in your favor. Some games are worse than others, but on average, only 95 to 80% of the player's money is ever actually returned to them. For every dollar you get in, you get 80 cents back. But he said that one game could be different. Blackjack. It was theoretically possible that a player could win consistently, but only if they had the right strategy. JP was skeptical of this professor's claim. It sounded too good to be true. He needed cold, hard proof. Luckily, JP was a grad student, earning his master's in computer science, so he headed down to the Lincoln Lab in Lexington, which at the time was home to a giant mainframe computer. He spent a long time writing a program to model the professor's theory and to run a Monte Carlo experiment against it. Essentially, play hundreds of thousands of hands of blackjack automatically using this system to see what the outcome would be, and he came to a shocking realization. If you did play enough hands with enough players willing to signal other players about their hands, it was possible for the player to win more hands than they would lose, i.e. he could make a lot of money. But JP knew this was still just a theory. Just because it worked on the computer didn't mean that it would actually work in practice. There's a lot of other factors that exist in a real casino.
Yeah, it's a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I had to do that.
That his program couldn't account for. This meant that in order to truly test the theory, they needed to hit up the casinos and put their own money on the line. So JP used his findings to convince his ragtag team of fellow MIT students to pack up their bags and head down to the Las Vegas of the East Coast, Atlantic City. We are going to be millionaires, the students thought to themselves as they entered the casino capital of New Jersey. But unfortunately, it didn't work out as planned. The unorganized group of students lost just about everything they walked in with. Following the trip, many of these guys gave up blackjack. They graduated, left MIT, went on with their lives, but not JP. Instead, he stayed in Cambridge and continued to pursue blackjack and the art of card counting. He knew he had something special here, but now he had another problem. He didn't have a team. So he decided to start his own blackjack course. He plastered posters around campus, hoping to attract new players. What he didn't expect was to catch the eye of a professional poker player named Dave. Dave offered to give JP $5,000 to go back to Atlantic City one more time to test out their theory. So once again, JP and whatever MIT students he could find made the trek down in December of '79. And the timing couldn't be any more perfect because the New Jersey Casino Commission had just recently made it illegal for Atlantic City casinos to ban card counters. So if JP and his friends started earning too much money, the casinos couldn't stop them from coming back. And this trip was much more promising than the first. So the group went back home, heads a little higher this time, and continued to pick up players during the January class that JP was teaching. They continued to go back and play for the rest of that semester. Took the $5,000 they started with and turned it into $20,000, which wasn't too shabby. But at this point, the group was less of a team and more like random people playing blackjack while using similar strategies and sharing money. There was no structure, no real consistency. But that was all about to change when JP met a man named Bill Kaplan. Bill Kaplan was a fellow blackjack.
The stylization.
When he
Hold
wrote a
on.
book about card counting,
I want to talk about
decided
this.
to take a gap year from Harvard Business School.
The stylization, the accidental stylization of the skirt I'm working on. Oh, it's like big. Oh shit! This actually goes hard.
To test out his mathematical model in Sin City. He traveled there with just $2,000 to his name. When he came back 9 months later, had $40,000. But Harvard Business School didn't want him back. They had caught wind of all his degenerate gambling and decided to revoke his acceptance. But Bill wasn't one to take no for an answer, so he fought the school, saying that this wasn't gambling at all. Quote, "We've analyzed the game down to the point that there's no risk. If you play this right, you have the advantage. Therefore, it's no different than any other business." I don't know if Bill was lucky or just one heck of a salesman, but Harvard heard him out. He managed to convince them that his interest in gambling was not just a dangerous hobby, but instead an academic pursuit. He went on to graduate from Harvard with his business degree, but the whole time he kept up with this blackjack hobby. One evening, Bill was in a Chinese restaurant in Cambridge when JP overheard him talking about his time in Sin City. Immediately, JP approached Bill to chat about their shared interest in card counting, only to learn that Bill was up to the same thing. He was already managing a successful card counting team. The two realized they had a symbiotic relationship going on. Bill understood business and managing people, and JP, he was a computer science guy. He knew about math and creating algorithms and running statistical models. Soon enough, JP was asking Bill to help manage his own team of MIT students. He invited Bill to one of their Atlantic City runs so he could get a chance to see how their team was currently working. Bill quickly realized that they needed a lot of work. Everyone was using their own strategies, and instead of focusing on beating the casino, they were all arguing on whose system was more effective. Nonetheless, Bill could tell that this team had a lot of potential, so he agreed to help manage them, but with one catch. The team had to become a lot more organized. No more individual methods, no more complicated theories. The team needed to stick to one strategy and get
Yep.
really good at it. This was a huge change for a team that was previously very relaxed and low-key. A lot of the members weren't exactly very happy with the new structure, but they decided to take the chance on Bill and a stricter way of running things. And thus, the MIT Blackjack team was officially formed. The new and improved MIT Blackjack team officially started on August 1st, 1980. They had 10 players and $89,000 to play with. The money was collected from both outside investors and the players. Within the first 3 months, they managed to double that investment. This meant they were profiting $162 an hour. In their model, they had projected a rate of $170 an hour. They were right on target. Per the terms of the investment offering, players and investors split the profit, with players paid in proportion to their playing hours and computer-simulated win rates. The players, mostly undergraduates, earned on average over $80 an hour, while investors, adjusted for an annualized return rate, were making over 250% on their investment. Clearly, this team was onto something big. Within 4 years, they had grown to 35 players and had a capitalization of $350,000. But the casinos were starting to catch on to the Dream Team, forcing Bill Kaplan to come to an early retirement. It got to the point where he was followed around every casino.
The scariest time for me was when I was actually out in Las Vegas, and this was late 1970s, when the casinos were at that time not public companies yet. And I was playing in one of the casinos and winning pretty heavily. And the pit boss came up to me and taps me on the shoulder, and he says, you know, you've got some pretty nice hands there. And I said, yeah, I guess I'm just getting pretty lucky, you know, I don't know, I just seem to be pulling some great hands. And he says, no, I don't mean your cards, I'm talking about your hands. And I kind of looked at him like honestly I had no idea what he was saying, and he said, you know, if you had no fingers, you'd have a pretty hard time playing this game, wouldn't you? And honestly, I was just out of college, and I kind of looked at him and just got out of there as fast as I could.
So he hung up his gambling hat. He was going to focus exclusively on real estate investing. But just because Bill was down for...
I just realized something. I still have the habit of the old body proportion side. I accidentally regained the old incorrect body proportion habit I had back when I was doing traditional arts. I can have to completely rethink my approach to like the foundation of my art, but like I want to get this done. But yeah, so the foundation art, I'm gonna have to rethink the approach for it, and hopefully just vastly improve my art skills.
the count doesn't mean the rest of the team gave up. They just had to get a little more creative, be a little more careful. Leadership was handed over to JP along with John Chang and Bill Rubin.
Oh,
Over 70
no.
people played on the MIT Blackjack team between 1979 and 1989. At times, the return on investment hit 300%. Just to put that into perspective, a good stock investment returns only 10% a year, and even that's a little high. Now, unfortunately, the total profit during this time period has never been properly documented publicly, but it was clearly very lucrative, especially when you consider that this was the 80s. The average cost of a Big Mac was $1.50. But the craziest part about all of this is that the MIT Blackjack team hadn't even reached the height of their potential yet, because on February 15th, 1992, a brand new casino opened just across the Connecticut border, the Foxwood. This brand new casino was a huge deal. It was the first legal casino to open in Connecticut, and even more importantly for the MIT kids, it was only a 2-hour drive away from campus. Now that still seems like a long time to drive to a casino, but up to this point they had been spending up to 7 hours to go down to Atlantic City or taking actual cross-country trips to Sin City. This was the perfect storm for the MIT Blackjack team. With this news, JP Master and veteran member John Chang re-engaged Bill Kaplan to help give the team an all-new structure. For this new run, they decided to form a limited partnership in April of '92 called Strategic Investments. Bill Kaplan structured this partnership similar to the real estate development limited partnerships that he knew and loved. 40 shares at $25,000 a pop for a total investment of $1 million. Friends and partners who had seen big returns on their previous investments lined up to fund this new company. There was just one thing missing: the players. Throughout the 80s, despite how well they were doing, the MIT Blackjack team suffered extreme burnout. Players again got bored with blackjack and wanted to do other things like actually start a family or put their MIT degrees to use. So JP, Bill, and John had to again recruit a lot of new people and fast. They put up flyers around campus advertising the blackjack team as the perfect summer job. The new structure did not require the students to put any money into the pot, so it was a great opportunity for college students who needed some extra cash. But joining the team was a lot harder than just attending a few meetings here and there. Each interested recruit had to prove their talent. Hours of daily practices for months on end. First, the players had to learn basic strategy, as first seen in Edward Thorpe's book, Beat the Dealer. Thorpe had come to his conclusions much like JP, through intense mathematics and computer analysis of the game, but it all boiled down to this chart right here, and this was the first thing the players had to memorize. It tells you what move you as the player should do in response to whatever card the dealer has drawn. But this, of course, wasn't the only strategy that the MIT Blackjack team employed. They're a lot more sophisticated than that. They also had to learn the high and low method of card counting. This also requires a bunch of mental math, but can be taught with this chart. It essentially boils down to keeping track of what cards have already been dealt.
Oh shit. I just oh my god. So I just realized one of the sayings that my personal finance teacher okay, so to be in context, to have some context, I took a personal finance class back when I was in high school. So what the golden rule of investment, I think she said, was buy low, sell high, and that ranged true always. The thing I didn't know is that was blackjack the was the sort was this the source of the saying buy low, sell high? Excuse me? What? I really hope I'm wrong, but that would be pretty funny for that realization. Anyways, let's move on to the video.
And betting accordingly. If there's more low value cards left in the deck, you bet less, and if there's more high value cards left, you bet more. But believe it or not, memorizing all the charts and figuring out the math behind blackjack was the easy part. The hardest part of training was learning how to do it as a team. Only worked if it was done as a team. The members were split up into 3 different players: the big player, the controller, and the spotter. The spotter's job was to count the cards in the deck and wait for the count to be favorable to bet on. Then, he'll do some sort of obscure signal like adjust his tie or fix his hair in a certain way, a sign that only someone on the team could notice. Then, a controller, after noticing the signal, sits down to confirm the count. And finally, once the count is confirmed, they call in the big player. One of these was student Mike Aponte, then 22 years old. After perfecting the technique in empty classrooms, he was shocked to be handed $40,000 in cash to gamble with on behalf of the team. He was even more shocked to lose $10,000 in his very first 10 minutes at the blackjack table in Atlantic City as the big player. It was a lesson in just how volatile blackjack could be, even with a scientifically proven system. But he continued to rely on the team's methods, placed big hands while the count was still favorable. By the end of the weekend, he was able to return to the college with a net profit of about $25,000. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here. So once the card counting hopefuls had gone through these weeks of endless practice, they had to make one final test. Called it the checkout. It's pretty easy to learn how to count alone in a study room at the MIT library, but casinos have a completely different environment.
I haven't even gone through the coloring process. This is like fucking thing. She fucking lost it. I didn't. I can't. I can't. I can't. Continue to look at it makes it laugh even more. I need to breathe. What did I do? Okay, so oh my god. I can't. Okay. 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 Oh. All right. All right. I, I'm so sad. Look at the face. I just have look at the face. Okay, let's focus on the hand. Let's focus on the hand, okay? We need to breathe. Let's just focus on the hand. Please, for the love of God. Love of God. Breathe. Oh, okay. Okay. That was funny. That was funny as fuck. Anywho.
Casinos are incredibly loud. The air is filled with cigarette smoke. When you're making big bets, you get a lot of attention. Everyone around you is drunk. Table is filled with people you don't know. All of these factors can throw off that really hard mental count. So the team would create a fake environment on campus to simulate the absolute worst scenarios you can come across at a blackjack table. They would blast music, have other players act as annoying Patreons and casino employees. The dealer would go as fast as possible. Then the players would have to accurately count cards and perform their role on top of that. If they could survive, they were finally allowed to play with real money. This is where the newly opened Foxwood Casino comes in. They would bring newly approved players there to test their skills once and for all. It was the final step in their card counting journey. If they played well enough at Foxwood, they become official members of the MIT Blackjack team. With the new team officially recruited and trained, it was time to start their run, but they had one last problem to solve. Casinos were more privy to this stuff than ever, and they needed a way to not get caught like Bill. In September 1992, the MIT Blackjack team finally kicked into overdrive. They weren't just playing blackjack, they were orchestrating legal weekend heists on the biggest casinos in the country. They had the math, the signals, the disguises, and $1 million bankroll on their side. On a Thursday afternoon, a dozen of the students were preparing for their first full-fledged trip to Sin City. One of the strictest team rules was that the money was always transported on your person. You never ever let the money and you become physically separated. That's because once before, a student returning from a big gambling trip and going straight into a practice session at MIT put their brown paper lunch bag under their chair. 6 a.m. the next morning, Kaplan got a phone call. "You won't believe what I've done," the student said. "You know, I just came back from my big run and I had $125,000 in a paper bag. Well, I left it in the classroom, totally forgot about it. I just ran back and it's not there." It took 6 months and an investigation by the Drug Enforcement Administration and the FBI before the team eventually got their money back. Turns out that a cleaner had picked it up and put it in his locker. These students were trusted with a ton of money. The other big rule was not to drink. For new players, it was a culture shock to go from campus to Sin City. They had to stay focused, and for the students, it was no problem. They were mature, responsible. They had prepared for a long time to even be given this opportunity, and so they wanted to do well when they arrived. One of these students was Semyon Dukak. On campus, nobody would blink an eye at his usual turtleneck sweater, but out on his gambling trips, he'd be playing the part of a Russian arms dealer. That Thursday, Semyon headed out to Boston Logan Airport to catch an American West flight down to Las Vegas. The plan was to meet up with 4 other members at the Mirage Volcano around 10 p.m. that night, including Kate, who would be playing his fake girlfriend.
On my first trip to Vegas, I believe I actually flew out alone, and I met some people there. I remember that I had a heavy leather jacket with about $150,000 in cash in the pockets.
But when he arrived at the meeting spot, no one else was there. He realized something was wrong. After wandering the strip for over an hour, Semyon finally bumped into Kate. Turns out she had taken a later flight, but she wasn't sure about the other students. Either way, they quickly got to work. Joining the blackjack table as a couple, Semyon would quickly find an excuse to leave, asked to head to the bathroom. Then Kate would bet the minimum, $25 a hand, until the count was favorable. Semyon, who had been hovering for a while now, waiting for the secret signal, Kate, resting her chin on her left hand, knew that the count was now favorable. He rejoined the table and immediately started betting $5,000 a hand. This wasn't ideal to do with just 2 people. It's a little easier to attract attention. The pit bosses are looking for players who go from betting low to betting high to distinguish card counters. Ideally, they would have had 3 or 4 people, so the big player would have looked like a totally random player just sitting down that always bets like that, no matter what table they go to. But this was their first run. They were pretty confident that they were going to get away with this, and just from that single session, they turned a profit of $30,000. One of the casino hosts, noticing this, immediately approached them and said, "Hey, do you guys got plans for where you're staying tonight? Because we'd love to offer you one of our premium suites." See, big players in Vegas are treated like royalty. They want to keep them around at their casinos, especially if they win big, so they come back the next day and potentially lose it all. Semyon and Kate were over the moon. By the end of the weekend, they were up over $100,000. On their flight back, they couldn't believe that they had actually beat the casino. With all their cameras and security and infrastructure, a couple of kids half their age had made out like bandits, collected a ton of stuff in free comps. The casino was none the wiser. There's dozens and dozens of stories like this. For JP, he knew that it was the law of large numbers that would make this work because they had so many people doing it. Hundreds of hands a day, thousands of hands a weekend. But it wasn't always sunshine and rainbows. Thanks to the expected mathematical variance, sometimes they lost and lost big despite having a good count. For Semyon, one night when the count was unusually high, he was betting 2 hands of $10,000 each. Still managed to lose a bunch of hands in a row. Within minutes, he was down $150,000, and worst of all, he had run out of chips. Now, he had more cash in his pockets, but he could only buy in for $30,000 without showing ID, and of course, he was playing under a fake alias. He couldn't risk revealing his real name or he could get barred from the casino more easy, so he had to walk away from the table. Despite these sorts of losses, the math always worked out. By June 1st, 1993, the team was on fire with winnings totaling $439,000. The team's routine became fly in for Friday, gamble for a straight 48 hours, then Sunday night, party before catching a red-eye back to school for Monday. Then they'd hand off the winnings to whoever was responsible for collecting the cash. And in between these trips, they had all sorts of forms that they had to fill out. Remember, Strategic Investments was truly set up like a real company. They had very thorough paperwork. Players would need to remember how many shoes they counted, what the conditions of the game were, how many players were at the table, and of course, the money totals. All of this playing and betting data was later fed into a computer for analysis. This information was also used to determine how much they were paid. So they were paid for their playing time, but they also got a cut of the profits, which were totaled up every quarter. Finally, after over 10 years of adjustments in leadership and strategy, the MIT Blackjack team had hit its stride. Up to 30 players were playing in casinos all over the world every weekend. It got so crazy that to avoid suspicion, the players would always visit different casinos as much as possible, sometimes even flying to Europe or the Caribbean. And back at MIT, almost no one knew that these students were leading this double life. They had to keep it really tight. Some of their families didn't know, girlfriends didn't know, certainly other professors didn't know. They were the best students at MIT, but on the weekend, they were the top gamblers of the world. And because of the whole host system and how whales are treated at casinos, they had front row seats to all the big shows. They were staying in the best suites. Some of them would have swimming pools and jacuzzis in them. They were getting steak dinners at the best restaurants in the world. Crap, one of the students requested a private plane take him on a tour of the Grand Canyon, and another got his wedding fully paid for at Caesar Palace. By the later half of 1993, Strategic Investments was now just shy of $900,000 in profit. JP and the other co-founders weren't only counting their money, but they were proud to have put the entire team together. They were successful at last, but in the months ahead, as the team increased its winnings even more, it also increased something else: its profile. Casinos do not like losing money, so they go to great lengths to make sure that nobody is getting more than they should. Hundreds of cameras lining the gambling pit, tracking players each and every move. Staff members are watching the high rollers like a hawk, and when the casino realizes that they're losing a lot but they're not sure how, they bring in the big guns: private investigators. Meet Andy Anderson. For years, the MIT players only knew him as the silver-haired man. He was a detective working for Griffin Investigations. Back in the 90s, they were the biggest name in private investigators specializing in the gambling industry. Every casino on the strip used them, and they would go out of their way to find people who were illegally cheating the casinos out of money. Usually they would catch people who were using sleight of hand to switch out dice during a game of craps, grease pens to mark cards, or people abusing computers hidden inside of their clothing. There's like a shoe computer, it was called, to track the count of cards. But the thing is, what the MIT kids were doing wasn't cheating or illegal. They were counting cards using their brain. They were just smart players, advantaged players. But legality didn't matter to casinos. Casinos are considered private businesses, so they can ban anyone they want for any reason. And with the help of Andy, they were hoping to figure out exactly who had been taking them for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Andy's secret weapon was recognizing faces. He would go from casino to casino on the strip, find the big players, learn who they are, and then try to distinguish who they were working with to get the count. Once he saw the same faces in several places, he would dig into their personal details, like the addresses they were using to claim comps, then cross-reference them with others in the crew. Worse, their pictures and aliases were then published in something called the Griffin Book. This was a book that was periodically released to keep all casinos up to date on threats to their profits. Essentially, when someone is repeatedly caught for having an unfair advantage, their name and picture will be put in the Griffin Book. To make matters worse, Andy noticed that many of the addresses used to claim comps by these people were from Boston. But the biggest mistake, the team had written manuals on their strategy for reference. Andy eventually found one of these that a student mistakenly left behind. From all of this, he was able to eventually piece together that the largest card counting team the world had ever known had all come from MIT.
And one time later, we actually got a copy of the Griffin Book, and we are about 140 pages of the Griffin Book, which is so much more than at one point. We pretty much took over their book, generated a lot of business for them. And one day we were flipping through the thing, and we saw a picture of Mike. I said, Mike, that's a really good picture of you. Like, it looks like you posed for it. And he's like, all right, come here, look at this. He looks and he's like, oh, that's my yearbook picture.
Let me save
so what
this.
Griffin did, they actually posed as MIT students, got an MIT yearbook, and scanned in all the yearbook pictures of everyone on the team and everyone who went to MIT. It wasn't just the team members at one point. They actually scanned in every single MIT student into their database of casino undesirables.
So to counter this, the team starts getting even more outlandish with their disguises.
At one time, we had John dressed up as a woman. Another time, I think he was a woman and a nurse, and I was a guy in a wheelchair.
But it didn't matter. The team was still getting banned from casinos left and right. It got to the point where upon landing in the airport, they would be spotted and a fax would be sent out to all the casinos warning them that the team was in the area. And it wasn't just Las Vegas. They were getting made around the world.
Simeon and I went on a tour of Europe at one point and showed up at the casino at Monte Carlo and only lasted for
let's see here.
about an hour. And I'm pulled away by, some very nice looking goons
All right.
at the Monte Carlo casino who don't let me go back to the table and brought us behind a glass door, I think, into an office where they could send our pictures to the Griffin Detective Agency in Las Vegas to get us positively ID'd. All the time pretending that they did not know any English. And then searched our car, we're not sure for what, and drove us to the local jail where we ended up spending several hours. So I have a police record and officially am barred from ever re-entering the Principality of Monaco, as I understand it.
They stopped going to international casinos because of this. Since basically everyone on the team was either banned from multiple casinos on the Strip or plastered all over the Griffin Book, it became a lot harder for the team to make money. Worse, they had also started hemorrhaging money, losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Nearly half of everything they had made in just a few months thanks to a brutal losing streak that had kicked off in the fall of '93. While this was within the statistical expected variance, it still made JP extremely stressed out that they would lose everything they worked so hard for. It didn't help that the team was also starting to slip through the cracks. Players who were now much closer to management in terms of skill were getting increasingly fed up with how it was run. Since the players only got their salary and about 10% of the profits, they felt like they were doing all the heavy lifting while the big investors took home most of the cash. JP eventually told John Chang and Bill Kaplan that he wanted to be done, that it wasn't worth all the stress, that things would be different if they weren't losing so much money, but they were. They toyed with the idea of just letting JP drop out, having Semyon replace his role in leadership and continuing the team, but when Semyon decided not to take that position because of the growing dissatisfaction among team members, they decided it was time to close up shop. By December '93, Strategic Investments cashed everyone out, and that would be that, except Semyon had other ideas. After 2 years, Strategic Investments was no more, but Semyon Dukak wasn't done gambling just yet. He went on to form a new team, Amphibian Investments. Players would become investors. The operation expanded through the mid-90s, eventually employing over 60 players across 5 cities. Their total winnings, reportedly over $4 million. The end of Strategic Investments also gave rise to the Reptiles, another spin-off team, whose story was later told in the book Bringing Down the House. In total, these teams spun off from the MIT legacy were responsible for over $6 million in losses to the casinos. But like all great teams, their time was limited, and after a few years it all came crashing down. Most of the students returning to their original fields that they were studying for at MIT. But the legend lived on. Bringing down the house sparked heated debate over its accuracy from team members, but it captivated readers and later audiences with the film 21, which introduced a new generation to the world of card counting. And casinos responded. They shuffled more often, they added automatic shufflers, they changed their rules, but the damage was done. The story had spread, books were written, movies were made, icons were born. The MIT Blackjack team inspired a new wave of advantage players determined to beat the system. The house today may be stronger, the odds tighter, but there's always new players stepping up to take their shot.
That's actually, wow. Also, I'm gonna be refining this shoe real quick. They're putting a little bit of depth to it. Okay. Alright. Just realized this needs fixed. Alright. Okay. Okay, so I fixed it the best I could with this one. And so this can be. Okay, so I'm gonna have to this real quick. Okay. Usually with traditional art, there was no room for error, basically. I guess this is kind of just like rewiring my brain quite a bit. And I'm still getting used to tools here, but kind of getting the hang of it. Okay, fuck. Almost forgot something. It's here. Yep. I want to do one more thing here. So just do this. As well as this. Okay. That's somewhat okay, but I'll end. Okay, so. Alright, I just intended to be a quick 2-hour stream to just unwind and draw a little bit. Anyways, I'm gonna be ending the stream off here. Hopefully you all enjoyed today's video, and hopefully you're gonna enjoy today's YouTube pod. With that being said, I gotta get going, and hopefully y'all will have a good rest of your day, evening, or night, or even time zone. Without any further ado, bye bye matinee. Or should I do this like this? Bye bye matinee blitzies. Whichever you want prefer, leave it in the comment section below. And that being said, bye bye matinee blitzies.